Created by San Diego Studios, MLB The Show 24 is the latest installment in the MLB The Show franchise. Is it still the game you know and love, or is it a complete dumpster fire? Tune in to find out. Throughout this video, we will be going over the gameplay, modes, graphics, and soundtrack/announcers. So with that said, let's get right in the video. I would have to say that the overall gameplay for this game does feel improved upon from last year. Fielding is probably the best that it's ever felt. I was kind of shocked of how much the fielding actually improved in this year's game. Everything you do on defense feels snappier and actually has a sense of urgency, whether that is fielding a ground ball or making a play out in the outfield and hitting the relay to get a runner out at home. This urgency has been needed in the game for probably over a decade now, and it's great to see how much it has improved. The pitching in this game is relatively the same. I believe they improved upon the pinpoint pitching a little bit, but I don't use that feature to pitch, so I'm not entirely sure. Pure analog pitching has worked for me this long, and I have no plans on changing that anytime soon. The newest feature they added in this game for pitching is the pitch clock. It is the standard pitch clock that is used in the majors, but I'll be honest, it doesn't really affect the flow of the game within MLB The Show, since you can pretty much pitch instantly after a take or a swing. As for base running, it is virtually untouched in MLB The Show 24. As far as I could tell, the stealing and slide animations are exactly the same as last year's game. Overall, I would say that MLB The Show 24 has improved upon the groundwork that was laid in the show 23. Fielding is easily the best it has ever been, and the hitting and base running is still within the status quo, which isn't a bad thing by any means. The modes in MLB The Show 24 are the same as last year. The main core modes such as Exhibition Mode, Road to the Show, Home Run Derby, and Diamond Dynasty are all back once again. And on the surface, not much has really changed. Now, Road to the Show probably has the biggest change to the series that we have ever seen. Now in MLB The Show 24, you are able to start out a career as a woman ball player. It claims it's a whole new storyline and it has different features compared to if you pick a guy. That may be true, but I only did one playthrough as a lady ball player, and let me tell you, it is as boring and cheesy as ever. Now they added a draft combine, which is similar to the showcase game that used to be in Road to the Show back in the day. Furthermore, they added a draft cutscene with Rob Manfred, and it shows your character sitting there getting drafted. But I did have a decent laugh because they showed the scene with your player getting drafted at the actual event, but then you hear the person in the loudspeaker say that you have been selected in the 13th round, which, let's be honest here, no one outside the first round shows up for any professional sports drafts, especially baseball. So seeing this whole dramatic thing of the first woman drafted in baseball ever at the event, yada yada, but you hear the loudspeaker say you've been drafted in the 13th round, was just a bit funny. My biggest gripe with the mode is the super drab and boring forced text message relationship you have to have with another female ball player. It adds nothing, and I wish you could just turn off that feature so bad. The same goes for the managerial meetings you have to have. It is the same thing over and over and over again, and shocker, again, it adds nothing to the overall game. It just feels like a lazy attempt at being immersive. I did a speed run of my character's career, so maybe that's why I feel like it's so annoying, but regardless, it's a bit dumb. Finally, talk about a lackluster ending to a career for your character. After a Hall of Fame caliber career, you just have a single still image of the stuff you accomplished, and you can skim through your season stats again. That's it. No Hall of Fame induction ceremony, no farewell press conference. You get nothing, and you're gonna like it. As far as I could tell, Diamond Dynasty is pretty much the same as it ever was. People who love the mode are going to love it, which is great for them. Then there are people like me who will dabble with it just a short bit but probably never play it again. I've tried it over the years, but I just don't get the allure of this mode. Maybe if you're able to keep the cards you earned and paid for, I'd be more open to it, but as of right now, I just don't care about it. But to each their own, there are plenty of people out there who love the mode. Franchise mode is pretty much back with the same status quo too. They have added a few contrived features that the vast majority of people won't use, like starting a season with injured players. Who cares? I don't get that. I don't get why that's a new feature. Beyond that, it appears to be the same as last year's game. The mode could be better, but it could also be a lot worse, so I'm not really going to complain all that much about it. Home Run Derby is also back once again. I still really enjoy this mode for what it is. My only real complaint is that you still can't do a Home Run Derby at night. It just makes no sense to always have it during the day, especially since the real home run derbies always happen at dusk into nighttime. This has been my major complaint for this mode for years now, and it appears like it will never change, so it is what it is, I guess. This game also brought back the storyline mode, which is a fun little way to learn about the sport, but I just don't find myself returning to the mode. I wish they would devote all that hard work that goes into this mode into other modes, such as franchise and Road to the Show. I guess I'll throw Stadium Creator into the section of the video too. It's a really fun feature in the game, and it is so close to being absolutely absolutely great. This is the 4th game to feature Stadium Creator, but the ability to change some basic things is still not in the game. The biggest complaint I see most people have is that you can't move the bullpens off the field and that you can't add distance markers or adds to the outfield walls. And I totally agree. I don't see how these would be hard things to add. Personally, I still want the ability to add old AstroTurf to the field with the sliding pits. Furthermore, I would like to also have the ability to create dome stadiums. Outside these few things, I do think it's a really awesome addition to the game. Now, this isn't a custom stadium, but I just want to give props to San Diego Studios for finally adding the Kingdome to the game. As a Mariners fan, I was very happy to see it added to the game. Overall, I think you would be hard pressed to get bored in MLB The Show 24. The game still has plenty to offer, no matter what your favorite game mode is. Graphically, MLB The Show 24 looks solid enough. There are times when the game looks really good and other times it does not. The new face scans they added to the game for certain ball players looks good. They also added new hair mechanics to the game, so hair actually moves when the player moves, and it looks a little rough at times, but a very drastic improvement over the static hair from previous iterations of the game. I just really hope SDS stops handcuffing themselves to the previous console generation for the next game, and that opens them up to really graphically improve the game in MLB The Show 25. But we shall see. Another big item they added this year is the jersey ad patches to match the real life teams that feature ads on their uniforms. I hate the ads on uniforms, but hey, at least it's authentic to what's on the field. Overall, outside the minor improvements I brought up, the game looks pretty much the same as last year's game. The soundtrack for MLB The Show 24 is probably the worst soundtrack I've ever heard in all my years of playing MLB The Show. It is bad and there are no two ways around it. The announcers are also not great. As I've said in previous videos, I turn off the announcers within the first hour or so when I start playing the new game, but within that hour, the announcers John Sciambi and Chris Singleton somehow sounded more disjointed and patched together than Baskerville and his partners ever did on PS3. Luckily, it is not hard to turn off all these things, and once you do, the game becomes a lot better. To try and wrap up this whole video, I would have to say that MLB The Show 24 is a solid enough game, but if you're not a hardcore fan, there probably isn't enough here to upgrade from last year's game. I'd wait until MLB The Show 24 was on sale if you were on the fence about buying this game. I would give MLB The Show 24 an 8.2 out of 10. It's improved well in some areas, and other areas of the game are still actively ignored. I just really hope this franchise can take a big step forward in the near future when it is solely developed for the current generation of consoles, such as the PS5 and Xbox Series X. Keep in mind, these are just my subjective opinions, and you are of course free to feel differently. With that said, what are your thoughts on MLB The Show 24 as a whole? What score would you give it? Let me know down in the comment section below, and while you're down there, if you could like the video and subscribe to the channel, that'd be greatly appreciated. Until next time guys, everyone have a great day. Thanks for watching.